Radio, where there's something for everyone, 24 hours a day. If you're into jazz, DJ sets, talk shows, and sports, no further than WMEG. For the best in rock, country, hip-hop, pop, rhythm, and blues, we've got your genre at WMEG, where there's something for everyone.
Okay. You're going to handle that most because of the food.
Okay. All right.
You get the comment.
I'll be honored. He'll feel comfortable.
Okay. I'm not trying.
When truth doesn't matter anymore.
Good morning. Another exciting Saturday, 11 a.m. Another episode bombastic. Because this is what this episode of The Outside is going to be. I'm your host, Sean Sims. I'm here with superstar Doc Cheatham in studio, co-host.
Good morning. God bless everyone.
Co-host extraordinaire. Our special guest today, he's going to be calling in, will be State Senator Cory McCray. And Doc, I'm going to let you have the calm on this.
It'll be my honor. I like the young brother.
It'll be talking about the food desert and the market that they're getting set up in his district. And Donald Trump. I'm just going to throw out news because we're going to get to the hardcore stuff of what's going on in the news. Donald Trump indicted, 37 counts. Okay, let me explain to everybody real quick of how this is going to happen. First of all, the president has power. President, if you read the Constitution and the amendments and so on, what the power the president has, it's a lot. Wow, maybe you should read one day. It does include the ability to declassify classified information, among others. Clinton, they tried to bring him up on this years ago, and it's civil, not criminal. So even worst case scenario, if they got to the Supreme Court, they would shoot it down. So this is just political in order to slow up the momentum of Trump, because you have his political opponent, who just happens to be the president of the United States, having the government hunt his political opponent down. That's Banana Republic. This is not what the U.S. is about. The United States is a democratic republic. And that's all I have to say on that. Doc, real quick, what do you think?
I agree.
Wow, that was quick.
Don't need to belabor it.
Yeah, I do a little bit of studying. I'm a history buff, so that's where that's going to go. So don't get all right. And all it's going to do is upset the Trump support and the people who are leaning. They're not really for Trump. The Democrats or the Republicans, the independents are leaning. That's going to push them over towards the Republican side. That's my political take. Orioles keep on rolling along. They have not been swept at all, not once. They have not been swept this series. This is knock on wood. They have not been swept this season in any series. So they keep on rolling along. The pitching is solid. You have the beast, the mountain, just mowing them down. And
we got a pitcher coming up today that's going to pitch. That was brought up again from AAA. He'd be brought up again. But it's a test of coaching, figuring out who is ready to go up to the big leagues. And I will be satisfied just to get into the playoffs. I'm not looking to go any further in the playoffs. Just to get there as a result of the last 2 or 3 years, that in itself is a satisfaction.
Well, I'm a little greedy.
Oh, goodness.
I like to go, I like to shoot for the moon. They have a squad. They have what? I guess so far second, third best record in baseball. They're rolling.
Second best.
Okay, second best record in baseball. They have not been swept in a series. They're young. They're hungry, and I believe that they have a shot to go all the way if the pitching holds up. Mark me on that one. So next, because we got to roll along because there's so much going on. Big Mike Harrison is out as police commissioner of Baltimore City. I have a reason to believe why this is so. I'll touch on it a little bit in the program of why I believe Big Mike Harrison, the real inside reason. We're the outsiders. We get the inside information. Don't get it twisted. Okay, so I'm going to give my take on the inside ball of what happened. But anyway, Rock, cut one,
I'm going to
please.
make you an offer you can't refuse.
Also announced my decision to nominate a deputy commissioner to lead the Baltimore.
Who is Richard Dick Worley? What is going on here? Why is he pushing this guy? No, there are no other candidates? All of a sudden, this guy just automatically gets the job? What kind of hot mess is this?
The streets of Baltimore have contributed to a 19% reduction in homicides and an 8% reduction in non-fatal shootings, respectively, year over year. All of this
is a bald-faced lie. Well, particularly when it comes to the 19% reduction in homicide year to date, that is Bravo Sierra. That is not true. The homicide rate reduction has dropped below 15%. It is at 14.8%. Slim Shady is yet again telling you a lie. Now let's continue the rest of this press conference and our tribute to the outgoing commissioner.
And now the end is near, and so I face
Bye, Big Mike.
the final
Commissioner Harrison will be departing his role as Baltimore Police Commissioner.
I
certainly give my God glory and honor for the great work that he has done in my life and the work he has done and is doing in this city, because over the past 4.5 years I have been truly blessed to serve the city of Baltimore and receive the support and confidence of the men and women of the department, our elected leaders, and the great people of Baltimore. I want to first thank my wife who is here with me, Cece Harrison, without whom I could not have journeyed. She's been
Regrets in having this guy as the police commissioner for 4.5 years, bilking the city for well over $1 million and getting absolutely nothing done. The homicide rate is still through the roof. For the 4.5 years he was there, Brandon's making his promise, 15% reduction in homicide. Each year of my term, this guy didn't get the job done. And I have a quick question. Why haven't they put in names of other candidates? Persons from Baltimore, experienced, they can get the job done, reduce the violence, reduce the homicide, proven leaders. Doc, what do you think about that?
Well, I have real concerns that we're going to end up having to pay for the end of a contract. I honestly believe there is a master plan that the former commissioner has in place. I think in 6 months he will be somewhere else. But I really like folks to really go back and think, when did we have the best commissioner? And I would say when I was heading up the NAACP, we had the best commissioner for those 4 years than I think we've had in probably 30, 40 years. And I'm talking about Frederick Bielefeld III.
Okay, well, somebody like Frederick, somebody in that level. If you're going to have a police commissioner with this city, the violence rate that's going on, 17th in the world, violence, crime, number 2 in the country. So you need top people. You should have candidates. This is why you have somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. Slim Shady doesn't know what he's doing. He's an amateur. He doesn't know how to manage. He's horrific, horrible. That is not how you do things. And
I would never trade the number of homicides for the crime and violence that is now being done by our youth.
Yes, and that's off the chart.
Youth has gotten quadruple the problems it was in the past, and you're telling me, oh, we're gonna decrease homicides, but now we're gonna kill and have our kids shooting each other? You trading for one negative for another negative.
Exactly. That is what's going on. And I have a question about Richard Dick Worley. It says here, it looks like in their, I guess, policy, official. Official means head of an agency reports directly to the mayor, and number 2, any at-will supervisory employee who reports directly to the mayor or to the head of an agency. Richard Worley reported directly to the head of an agency. Now, residency requirements. Every official must be a resident and registered voter of Baltimore City at the time of his or her appointment, except only as otherwise authorized by Section B of this section, so on, so on. So, what's going on with this residency issue? Because if you're reporting directly to the mayor or to the head of an agency, which would be the commissioner, you're the deputy commissioner, you report, am I right, Doc, you report directly to the head of the agency?
You're going to the head of the agency, but I would say this, that we've seen that law broken in so many ways, and the best way I can tell folks to remember, we had a state senator, the only thing that he had in his address was a jar of grape jelly in his refrigerator.
Well, there's an issue here, because it says you must be a resident and registered voter of Baltimore City at the time of his or her appointment, except only as otherwise authorized by subsection C of this section. Oopsie. There was a way out.
Unless, otherwise.
Well, why didn't he want to live in the city? He lives in Anne Arundel County. Why didn't he want to reside in the city? You're talking about this guy's a city guy, Cardinal Gibbons, and the Cardinal Gibbons went out the same time a few buddies of mine were there. I'm going to ask them if they remember him in high school. So I don't know what's going on here, but I am going to make this point. As a press conference, that time of the press conference, Monzi had 117 homicides listed on its dashboard, with last year at 142, and that would make it a 17.61 reduction year to date. Slim Shady said 19%. The Monzi numbers continue to be false. The actual homicide number was 121, which would take the reduction mark below, I believe for the first time this year, below 15% at 14.8%. The numbers don't lie. Only the mayor, Slim Shady, who quoted 19% year-to-date reduction, does lie, does it consistently. So, you know what, Rock, let's move right along. Cut 2.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? I repeat, will the real Slim Shady please stand up?
No, I don't have anything personally done. I think what's right for Baltimore, not what's right for me. The Board of Estimates makeup is one way for us to increase transparency and to do our due diligence.
You do a few things that appear to be
shady, etc. Voters may not like it because the mayor hasn't explained his actions, but rather taken the criticism personally. That's the most disrespectful questions you've ever asked. If you, break a promise or if you basically go back on something, the key is to explain it quickly why you did it.
Again, Base and I have residents of Baltimore. Do not listen to Fox 45. There is no difference between Base and I on how we're going to approach the street. And Memorial Day is when we'll be showing everybody what we're and how we're going to be doing. Over 1,800 guns this year, more than we did in 2014. Meaning we had 500 more officers back then. So our officers are more productive because they're more away from
The President promised for the second year in a row. Our aim to reduce homicides by 15% each year in my term, leaving us below 300 homicides in my first year.
Yeah, that's the Slim Shady audio. I think I'm going to do a video with that and put that out. That's some good stuff. That's the Slim Shady audio, and that's what he is, Slim Shady. What's going on with these numbers, messing around, the BG&E, stab in the back, conduit, backdoor deal, all the stuff is going on with this guy, mismanagement, on and on and on and on and on. And I just wanted to throw that in there, Doc. I want to play a clip. We want to get some of these clips in and talk about the situation that's going on within the city and some others as well, presidential race. But I want to talk about what's going on with, well, why you should vet those people who you're giving $1.346 million to, or these nonprofits, or the people who own the nonprofits, and the people who work for Safe Streets. You should vet them. That's why they're, for some reason, they're redacting their names, so you don't know who these people are that are working for Safe Streets as well. But I'm going to say, I told you so. I told you so. I'm going to say that before. Didn't I warn you people about what was going to happen? I gave a warning. I know what I'm talking about. Rock, cut 3.
I gave him a call. Christopher Robin, what is this, Winnie the Pooh? Christopher Robin. Perfect. I saw this guy's signs up. Remember we were running for office, you were running for office, clerk of the court, I was your campaign advisor, and I saw this guy's signs up. We had your signs up all over Baltimore, and this guy, Chris Urban. And I gave Chris a call because it looks like he was one of the awardees. His company, the Lazarus Light Inc. That's that thing originating, the everything around to the telemarketing department, ran that. So I did a little bit of everything, and if they would have bought something that crossed my desk with someone, and I asked him, Chris, are you in bankruptcy? And he never couldn't foreclose it. And he says, well, go to Clean Court and I'll ask them. I said, Chris, I'm asking you. I'm talking to you right now. I'm asking you. I'm not going to Clean Court. As a matter of fact, I think I will go to Clean Court because they're the ones that approved this guy. If someone would have brought this across my desk, I would have thrown this. Get this hot mess out of here. I'm not giving this is a pants. He said, look to them underwriting it or looking at it and saying, this guy's in a bankruptcy and it's listed. It's not like it's not listed. It's in a bankruptcy. This guy's in a foreclosure and he's had 2 prior bankruptcies. Get this hot mess off my desk. But it looks like Clean Court. They don't care about that. Now, does that make any sense? No. And he wouldn't answer the question. He kept saying, go to Clean Court. And I'm like, you know what? Then he goes, I had a few more questions for Christopher Robin. And he, subsequently had to get off the phone because he was driving. I guess you can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time.
You backed him into a corner.
Well, I'm telling you what, the Outsiders, and this is from Roddy Piper. I actually trained next to him one time. This is from Roddy Piper. I'm here, and the Outsiders are here to do two things. Chew bubble gum, kick ass. And we're all out of bubble gum.
We're all out of bubble gum. We're all out of bubble gum. Here it is. Christopher, Robin Irvin, Lazarus Wright. Looks like they received a total of $414,000. Two payments, $191,000, late December 2022. And another payment, February 10th, $213K, 2023. Contract terminated. For misuse of funds on May 30th, 2023. Irvin had till June the 2nd to provide proof of expenditures. On June the 9th, this past Friday, the Civic Fund would tell him how much of the $414K he needed to pay back, and Irvin has till June 23rd. That's right before my birthday. It's June 24th. How apropos to return the funds. Irvin was slated to receive 1.6. Now, I was reporting $1.346 million, but actually they were going to give the guy another $250,000 more. $1.6 million. He mucked it up in 3 months. That's why you have underwriters look at things like this before you dole out $1.6 million to some AK-47 toting, former cocaine dealing, former bankruptcy foreclosure having, 8, 9 time, I forgot the number, AWOL jumping, Christopher Robin Winnie the Pooh Irvin. That's the situation. I sent a letter. Chris Ryer and Miss Chung, Jesus Chung, just wanted to get an accurate figure on the amount. Lazarus Wright Inc. and Chris Irvin been asked to return $400,000 in grant funds. It's confirmed with me there was $414,000. I'm not going to divulge my sources. And will they continue to receive the funds? Didn't get anything back. Nothing. It's public record. You can look this stuff up. And also, to boot, just to add, May the 9th, 2023, there was a suit filed against Lazarus Wright, Inc. for $3,000. On top of all this. So, I hate to tell you I told you so, but Doc, I told you so quick. What do you think of this situation just with Clean Core?
It saddens me to hear funds that are needed in the city for DPW and other things to improve and enhance our city, that money is being mishandled to a major degree. But I think we need to go back even further. I really got some serious problems with Catholic charities being involved with anything when we look at other than Catholic Church and the Basilica being here in Baltimore, and it's like we're all looking the other way, these injustices being done by these city agencies, and people are still giving them money. You know, this thing about cleaning the streets and the alleys, it's definitely needed, but we are mishandling the money to the extent that we're actually throwing money away. And I say, when you sleep with dogs, you got fleas. Baltimore City, we got a serious flea problem.
Yes, we do. This just keeps going on and on and on. You got the soap opera with the administration of the city, and they're coming in and out. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I believe that there should be a replacement mechanism. There is already, but an improved replacement, remove and replace of elected city officials. so that when things like this happen, you know what? Let's get the people and let's see what they say. Recall, remove and replace some type of mechanism to get this done.
Starting with our Senator Antonio Hayes. We're looking at you first.
Next, I want to talk about this. I attended the Ways and Means hearing this past Monday, the entire day. From 8:37 a.m., Doc, that's when I got there.
You were there the whole day, huh?
To 10 p.m., my wife's calling me when you're coming home. Oh, my goodness. And learned a few things and met some of the city leaders. A shout out to Felicia Porter, Councilwoman Porter. You know, she asked me if I was hungry. She goes, "Are you hungry?" Because I've been there so long.
You've been there all day, probably saw you, knew you had to be hungry.
I said, no, I'm okay.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, very cordial. I said, no, I'm okay. I had gotten something to eat. And had a chat with Councilman Z. Cohen. Actually, we were at the table eating together with Z. Cohen as well. Pleasurable conversation. So all in all, it was a good day for the outsider. Yours truly. However, there were some moments during the hearing.
I was there in spirit.
Yes, Doc was there in spirit. However, there were some moments during the hearing which I have to discuss. Ivan Bates said some things which came across as callous, cold, insensitive to the Baltimore community, and I want to put my 2 cents in on this. I'm going to do it. Let's go with the hearing itself of what was said. Rock, could you cut 4, please? Hello, Rock and Doc Connection. Rock, can you cut 4, please?
Some of the, could you just walk us through, I guess, the rationale for the list that we have that you provided? Some of these I think are pretty obvious to me as far as the public safety value of increasing enforcement, but things like hacking, I don't really understand the value to the citizens. When I think about especially in my district, when I think about folks that are hacking, there's some older seniors I know that work at a grocery store and hang out and help take people home with their groceries, and I don't really understand in that scenario why that person needs to show up and do community service for having sort of an informal taxi service. I mean, I get it, the laws are the laws, but I don't know how to make the city safer.
Well, for us, it was pretty simple. These are the laws that are in the books, a number of the laws from the city council. And so I feel like, look, now we brought it to your attention. If it's something you feel strong about, then please repeal it. I agree the same way about the hacking like you do. However, it's the law that was already on the book, and the citation was already in the book. And for instance, one of the things you don't see is sex work, because you can't give a citation for sex work. You can either arrest. We don't want to arrest for sex work, and even though you know this better than anyone, Councilman, sex work and sex trafficking look very similar, we wanted to sit down and say, before we move in that direction, let's find a better way to try to do this. How we can go ahead and find out individuals being sex trafficked, but not give additional trauma to the sex worker. And so with us, these are laws that were already on the books.
Okay, you got hookers and hacking and hookers. How is going after people, trying to make a few extra bucks by helping people get their groceries home, how is that going to make the city safer? I mean, what if a hooker was hacking? I mean, while hacking the hooker or a sex worker gets pulled over, then the officer says, you know what, we have to cite you for hacking, but we want to arrest you for hooking. I mean, what sense does this make? It doesn't make any sense that he's talking about on the books. Okay, well, you're cherry picking. You don't have to go after people hacking. To put the blame and pass the buck over to the city council for the laws that are on the books regarding citation and hacking, which means you have to go after them because it's on the books. I mean, that's pretty pathetic as far as I'm concerned. Well, why don't you, make sure that you enforce the laws that are on the books regarding sex work? But you don't do that because you decided not to do that. Just like you could have decided not to go after people who were hacking. Doc, what do you think?
I think we have a real problem with elected officials prioritizing the needs of the community and the city. We're coming up with bills that don't make sense. They don't seem to be of major interest to the public. But we have elected officials that seemingly have a propensity to introduce bills so they can get their name as the writer of the bills. But at the end of the day, Are we doing better as a city or worse? And I'm honest to say, I've only been here 72 years, but I've never seen conditions as they are today. I think they're the worst that I've ever experienced in my life.
Doc, we have State Senator Cory McCray on the line.
All right now.
Hello, Senator McCray.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going real well. How's it going, bruh?
I can't complain, Doc, man. I'm, just pushing, man, trying to serve the community and also raise a family, man. You know how it is.
Okay, Senator McCray, Cory, this is Sean Sims. Doc Cheatham is he's going to have the calm because what's going on with your district, your area with a new grocery store coming in, and how did that come about? It's great to see that happening.
Sean, it's super exciting. One of the things that I think about is we actually lost 2 grocers even during my tenure in over the past several decades. So one of the things when you're thinking about like what is a long-term vision for your district, food insecurity plays a big role in that puzzle. And being able to work with Henson Development right down there in the Old Town Somerset footprint, they worked ecstatically hard to try to leverage it. And let me be clear, there were a number that actually walked away, said that it couldn't work. And one of the things that I said to Dana and Danny was, like, what is the number that we have to hit? How does this make this more marketable? So what we did was, in the state budget, you'll see a line item for the Somerset Grocery Store Initiative that'll be coming to Orleans Street, right by Central Avenue. But what we did was we put $1.3 million in state resources to leverage in our position to make sure that we can eradicate the food insecurity within that East Baltimore community. Sean, I'm super proud because it was a conversation for a number of times. There was a letter of intent that was signed, but we moved past the letter of intent. It's moved to where we have the ink, we have it signed on a deal, and we know that we have a reputable grocer that's not scared and honored to be able to do the work in an urban jurisdiction to help us with our issues.
Fantastic. Doc, take that.
Senator, first, congratulations on your session this year. We think you are commendable. We need to try to emulate the successes that you are having and have had. We really need to learn as much as we can that you're willing to share with other communities. We are now up to, and we may have our numbers a little underrated, but we know we are up to 30% of Baltimore City residents are living in a food desert. The health department would not give us a list, so we created the list by going to communities. We really need, and we asked of the General Assembly if they would consider for Baltimore City if the senators would have, and I think you would be an excellent chairperson of this, to have a charrette where we bring in the city senators and we sit down and discuss how you did what you did, what we can learn from what you have done, because this situation of food deserts is going to increase, not decrease. But want to commend you. Would you consider talking with the other state senators of Baltimore City to have a charrette, bring it in the United States Senate, United States Congress, and let us all sit down together and see how we can tackle food deserts in Baltimore City?
Doc, I would definitely welcome something like that. I'll make sure that I have that conversation with my colleagues, make sure I have it with the Baltimore City Chair, the Senate Chair of the delegation, Jill Carter, at the moment. But I'm like you, Doc. I think that this is one of the most important conversations. This rises to the approach of public safety. This rises to the approach of education, because this actually impacts. If folks aren't able to get healthy food options within that piece of it, Doc, how are they supposed to perform in school? If we don't have the appropriate, if we look at obesity, it's a number of things that indirectly impact the decisions that we make when we have heavy food insecurity within our districts.
I love you. I love the work that you do, Senator. And I think folks need to hear more about the issue of life expectancy. You look at the areas, the 30% of us that are living in food deserts, and you will see our life expectancy, like in Cherry Hill, 65 or 70. But you look at Roland Park, 85 or 90. And we're saying all of those things that you said, but the fact that we are dying earlier because we have far more liquor stores, maybe 10 times the liquor stores than we do food markets.
Doc, you're absolutely right. I'm a firm believer that zip codes dictate outcomes, and that should not be the norm. We have a responsibility to change that. And just from a liquor store outlet piece of it, I want to say that back in 2020, one of the things that we realized, and this has been going on for decades, Doc, was why were our liquor stores open before the school bell rang? So if you were a child, a young lady that lived on Bond Street, you went to Lily Mae Carroll, unfortunately you walked past 3 liquor stores before you even got to school, and that should not be a norm. That should not be. Why do we psychologically place our kids, our young scholars in these situations? And in East Baltimore, what we did, Doc, from North Avenue all the way down to McElderry Street, going to Central Avenue to Luzerne, those 30 liquor stores in that 1 mile radius had their hours changed from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and they don't close at 2 a.m. They close at 10 p.m. We watched our public safety shift of the murders, and each one of them had at least had 1 homicide in front of their footprint within 500 feet within a 3-year period, and one had had as high as 30 murders within 500 feet of the premises within a 3-year period. And we've got to change. But most importantly, I fully support what you're saying and agree with it.
Well, I do know this, and I did send to not only the Speaker of the House, but also sent to President of the Senate, Ferguson, the request, because this goes back as far as about at least, I would say 5 sessions ago, that we were aiming to try to get leadership like yours, where we could bring all the elected officials that are being affected by food deserts in Baltimore City. Let's all sit down at the table together in a charrette and look at what are the determining factors that are keeping food businesses from coming. We know that crime and violence and theft is at the top of it, but at the end of the day, we're getting worse and we're dying sooner. And I really think you ought to be commended, Senator. We learned from the successes and failures, and you've not had any failures that I know of, but we learned from successes of others, and we need to really, I guess, really adopt, I don't want to say clone you and your work, but you need to help us learn what you've done, what your successes were, what the challenges were, because as I said, we had 30% of Baltimore City is in a food desert.
Now, I welcome that. I do think that it needs to be convened, it needs to be facilitated, but most importantly, it needs to be amplified. And I thank you for your leadership around this conversation and just amplifying the voices of those that don't always have a voice.
So I need to get to, as well as my former legal dress chair. Jill used to be my attorney when I was with the NAACP. So you said I need to touch base with Jill again, huh?
No, I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
God bless you and all the great work you continue to do, Senator. And I still remember the day you had a truck and you drove in the 1500 block of Monroe Street. And I told folks, this is the senator that I have supported, even though he's in another district. I'm proud to say I love Senator McCray very much.
No, Doc, man, I can't say it enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know me before I was even elected to any position, and just out here in the streets, organizing, doing the work. And I learned from leaders such as yourself. So I say thank you for your mentorship. I say thank you for your leadership. I love you back, brother. And Sean, I also want to say thank you for the invitation, too.
You're very welcome. You're doing a fantastic job. And I want to give a shout out to Robert Stokes, councilman, because he involved in, as well. I spoke with him Monday when I was at the Ways and Means hearing, and he said you need to get in touch with Henson and the group, and you need Cory McCray. And I said, okay, I want to get in touch with him. So congratulations on you guys and what you're doing. It's fantastic, and keep up the good work.
God bless you.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a blessed day, and thank you again.
Okay, take care.
I love that young leader. He's gonna go far. We need to support.
We do. We need more young men like him, and women that get out there. They talk the talk. They walk the walk. They back up what they say they're going to do.
And they lead by example.
They lead by example.
What impresses me. You know, you just don't talk the game. That you go out and you do something, and at the end of the day, what can you say? This is going to benefit hundreds, if not thousands, of people that live in this district, because they, like many of us, have multiple stores that have closed. And, you know, to find, I went to a food market this week, I'm sorry to belabor this, I went to a food market this week, and it had gotten so bad, they closed one of the entrances and exits. And at this time, I had the misfortune of buying some prayer meat there, and a man and woman got into a physical fight. And because there was only one exit or entrance, you put us in jeopardy. Shoppers at Mondawmin, I call it like I see it, shoppers at Mondawmin, because I contacted the police department. I contacted the fire department 2 months ago and said, this is an accident waiting to happen, that you're only allowing hundreds of people to go in and out of one part of the food market. And we experienced it this week, a physical fight in a food market.
Isn't that a possible fire violation as well?
Fire department wouldn't touch it. Police department wouldn't touch it. Greater Mondawmin Coordinating Committee would not touch it. But I tell you what, you let someone get hurt or injured, I'm going to be on that list to sue all of you, because I have records clearly that show that we forewarned you. We put the red flag up. Why are you putting so many people in a food market and only allowing them one entrance and one exit?
You have a serious liability issue. That is, I mean, if something happens and you only have one way to get out and it's blocked because of a fight, and then, God forbid, there's shooting or anything worse, you have a serious liability. What is wrong with these people? Who's their attorney?
This fight was taking place, it's got to be on the video. This fight was taking place right at where all the cash registers are located. So that is actually where people would have the opportunity to get out of the food market as quick as they could. But because it was right at the cash registers, you had reluctance to even go past the fight that was going on.
Well, that's a serious liability issue, and Doc, I'm glad you brought that up so people can know about it, and what's going on. And outside,
it's on the list to close.
We're going to keep an eye on that, because I have some very well-known attorney friends of mine. I'm going to have a talk with them about that issue, see what they have to say. But I want to get back to where we were before we had the great Senator Cory McCray. This young man's getting it in, getting it done. But I want to go back. I called Ivan Bates' office and spoke with Hassan Giordano, his right-hand person.
That's the brother got caught taking down my political signs years ago.
Well, yeah, well, he's working.
Ouch.
He's working for Ivan Bates now. He jumped ship. He jumped the Conaway. I'm sorry, Xavier Washington Conaway, changed his name right before the election, 25 years old. Great job going down. Great job going on down there right now. But that's another story. He jumped the Conaway ship where he was a campaign advisor, and I was the campaign advisor for Kim. For Kim, okay? So he jumped that ship. I was Kim Banks' campaign advisor, and I told Hassan, because I had a conversation with him after the election. I said, look, this kid is walking into a meat grinder situation, doesn't know what he's doing. Now now that the circuit court, it's a travesty. However, I digress. I asked for a copy of the comprehensive plan to combat and fight sex trafficking in Baltimore City. And this was done on Wednesday. Mr. Giordano, he said that he would get it to me, yet I have not received it yet. I have not received a comprehensive plan to combat and fight sex trafficking in Baltimore City. This sex trafficking, and we're going to touch more on this, this is a very serious issue, not just in Baltimore City, but in inner cities throughout the country, and throughout the country as well, all over. And I haven't gotten anything. Maybe there wasn't one in place. And that's why I haven't heard a peep. I did notice something, though. I'm going to say this. Hours after I made this request from Ivan Bates, the state's attorney's office, to get a copy of the comprehensive plan to combat and fight sex trafficking in Baltimore City. Then there was an announcement about Big Mike. Big Mike's out. I wonder if Baltimore City, I wonder if the commissioner had a comprehensive plan to combat sex trafficking.
Well, I would guess all of them may have plans, whether they're just in their mind or whether or not they contend that they're in paper. But I do know at the end of the day that it's hard pressed on our parts as community people to get the city of Baltimore to present any written document that substantiate the lies and the stories that they tell us to cover what they're doing. I do know this is the best talking group of elected officials I've ever heard of in my life, and most of what they talk about, I say it's boulder dash. You know, it's sad that this group is talking as well as they are, but at the end of the day, I doubt seriously if you could go into that document and identify where is the sex trafficking taking place. Then go talk to the community presidents, and I bet the two lists will not be the same. We will tell you as community presidents where sex trafficking is taking place. And I'm saying elected officials, posting the police department, whatever departments you're in, you don't know because we don't see you on the street, so you know where the sex trafficking is taking place. You need to ask community presidents. We know where it's taking place on a day-to-day basis.
Well, we're going to keep an eye on this. I'm going to continue to ask for that comprehensive plan to combat and fight sex trafficking in Baltimore City.
How about daytime sex trafficking, like on Garrison Boulevard?
It goes on. I mean, you got hooking that goes on. That's what they used to call hookers, prostitutes. That happens with the sex work. Hassan did tell me that they did have a comprehensive plan for sex workers. I didn't get that either. So let's move on. We're going to keep an eye on that.
Trust him as far as I can throw him.
Oh, boy. Well, with his girth, you better have a strong back. Because he's getting a little, Hassan, you know, come on. It's starting getting a little bit, you got to keep yourself in shape, bro. We don't like to see guys, you know, because of the cardio and the heart and cholesterol reasons going out too early. So I'm trying to look after you. A little bit more cardio, treadmill time, a little bit more treadmill time. That's the personal trainer in me talking. Now, there was Shantae Jackson. She gave her, I guess, testimony, whatever, at the hearing Monday, and she was like a deer in the headlights from what I consider a fantastic, well thought out question by Councilman Yitzi Schleifer. Rock, could you cut 5, please?
We are taking our job very seriously with regard to keeping people safe, alive, and free. Weekends that we've been doing this work, no juveniles in our city have been shot.
But what they failed to mention was the violence that turned volunteers into victims this past weekend. It was just before midnight Saturday night here on Denham Circle in Cherry Hill, where vandals forced volunteers out of the neighborhood. They had traveled to Cherry Hill in a youth connection van, very similar to this one, but quickly returned when the van came under attack.
The mayor's been extremely clear with regard to his goal of a reduction of 15% of homicide and 15% of non-fatal shootings in our city.
I will aim to reduce homicides by 50% each year in my term, being that's below 300 homicides in my first year.
So is this year like the first year we should expect to see that 15% reduction?
What I will say there is what I said a few questions ago. The mayor's goal of 15% reductions of homicide.
He has come up to the mayor failed to fulfill his campaign promise for the second year in a row. I will aim to reduce homicides by 15% each year in my term, being that's below 300 homicides in my first year.
I think that says it all. I mean, I was there. Councilman Yitzi Schleifer asked the question about the 15% for this year, because obviously he didn't hit it in 2021. He missed it. He didn't hit it. And he didn't hit it in 2022. As a matter of fact, it actually increased. So here we are, 2023. 206 is the number. 206 is the number, everyone. I'm pointing to it for my Facebook, YouTube viewers. That's the number. 15%, then 15%, then 15% on a campaign promise gives you 206 for year 3. And Councilman Yitzi Schleifer asked that question. It was silent. You could have heard a mouse fart. It was so quiet. I'd say for like 12 seconds. Complete silence in that hearing. Because the question was a great question. Quick, Doc, what do you think of that?
Good question. Sad that there wasn't a response, because I would like to hear what the response is.
It was
that question needs to come out every time there is campaigning for the position of mayor. That question needs to come up, because this was a promise made. This wasn't a promise that was asked of any elected official or candidate. This was a voluntary promise that was made to the citizens. On that issue alone, one should be able to determine, is this individual worth my voting for, to make a promise like this and not be able to keep it? What other promises have you not kept? What other promises have you said one thing and done just the opposite? And I'm saying that of any elected official. Don't make promises you can't keep, because technology's at such a state now that everything you say or do is going to be recorded, and we're going to have to bring it back up, because next year is an election year. And I would say of the city council, probably 3/4 of you do not deserve to be reelected.
Ooh-wee, oopsie, ooh-wee. Wow. Well, on that
note, say all.
I didn't say all.
Didn't say all.
Didn't say all. But I want to give an update. This is a quick update. We're rounding the corner to the end of the show, but I have to get this in. I want to give an update of the Title I funding issue, and something that seems to be turning into an issue. I mean, I sent an email out to the LEAs, local educational agencies, to find out if they received their funds. There's 24 of them. I only got like 5 responses, and 2 of them basically told me to go pound sand. So this is the response I received back from the Maryland State Department of Education, Media, MSDE. Hello, Sean. Thank you for your inquiry about the Title I funding distribution to Maryland's local education agencies, LEA. The department is happy to respond, though you should also be aware that the underlying premise of your question is false, because simply put, and they put this in bold print, Doc, simply put, Title I funds were not delayed, nor have there been any issues with their distribution to LEAs. And it goes on and on and on. And, well, if that's the case, then why don't they just simply give me the information? You're not making any sense. It's nonsensical, this response. But, I said, okay, if we have any other questions. And I did have another question, so I sent this to them. Good morning. We would like to know when your LEA, this actually went to all the local LEAs. Not all, I believe I sent it about 13 or 14 of them. We would like to know when your LEA received the first increment and second increment of Title I funds for fiscal year 2021, 2022, and fiscal year 2022, 2023. Also, please send us a copy of your first and second increment grants with the Title I formal funds granting letter for the fiscal year 2021 through 2022 and fiscal year 2022 through 2023. Thank you. Sean Sims and Marvin Cheatham, hosts of The Outsiders, WMEG Online Radio. I have not received anything. Wow. I haven't received anything. Where's the grant letters? When did you receive the increments, the first and second increments? If there's nothing there, this issue is very troubling.
It's it's protocol, I think, for all of the state and city education agencies that their best response is to not respond to people's questions at all. And I'm finding that more people are finding it. But today, not today, next week, starting on Thursday and Friday, the NAACP state conference, not any county, the state is having discussions with the boards of education for all of the counties and of course Baltimore City included, on Thursday and Friday, being held by Dr. Barbara Desmond, outstanding educator, and these are going to be questions about why are our children failing to the degree that they are, and what are you going to do to turn it around. And I'm encouraging anybody, lottie-dottie and everybody, to try to get to this conference. It's Thursday and Friday in Linthicum. It will be 2 full days of addressing our children failing, especially our black children failing in education in the state of Maryland.
Well, we're going to keep an eye on that. I think I'm going to attend one of those.
I'm going to be there both days.
I'm going to try to get there for at least one of the days. And we're going to finish off. I got to talk about this Tim Scott. Tim Scott, black men are leaving the Democratic Party. This is a fact. And I believe Tim Scott was one of them. I believe he left the party. I'm not sure. I got to check on that. But he's now running for the Republican nomination. And I believe that Trump, this is my professional opinion, if he has a good showing, I believe that Trump will pick him as his VP. And here is Senator Scott on The View with a joyless Behar missing in action. Rock, could you cut 6, please?
Scott is going to be the vice president. And people say, oh, I wish it was Trump would pick DeSantis. Trump is not going to pick DeSantis. DeSantis would never pick Trump. Both would pick Tim Scott. Watch him on The View.
Head of the Highway Patrol for South Carolina, African American. In 1975, there was about 15% employment in the African American community for the first time in the history of the country. It's under 5%.
40% homelessness.
And I just want to show you what he's doing right now. He just gave a list of facts to Sonny Hostin on The View.
Because he believed that faith in God, faith in himself, and faith in what the future could hold for his kids would unleash opportunities in ways that you cannot imagine.
There is not a more positive love letter to America.
So America has met its promise.
No, absolutely. The concept of America is that we are going to become a more perfect union.
The philosophy of it's going to be, we're going to be a more perfect union, not a perfect union.
Imagine that. When my mother was born, about 10% of African Americans got a high school degree, diploma. Today it's over 90%.
Once again, he's just hammering them with facts.
The Republicans have these issues, so...
Yeah, I think humans have these issues. Yeah, the issue of discrimination that I have faced, and since you face as well, is an issue of the heart. It's not Republicans or Democrats. Frankly, both sides of the aisle can do a better job on the issue. When you look at progress in the Senate, especially from the Republican side, and when African-American chiefs of staff on the Republican side, the only African-American female chief of staff was mine. The current only Hispanic chief of staff, happens to be female, is mine.
Only one black senator out of 50.
Which I'm a wrong side. It's a choice on the other side.
Look at Sonny doing her job. There's only one who's going, look, well, the Democrats only have 2. Is that the big, amazing accomplishment?
Yeah, there's supposed to be. I mean, that's a very good fact. Oh, my goodness. That is a very good fact. If you're talking about, hey, we got the black vote. We're the Democrats. We got the black vote. We can do whatever we want, say whatever we want. The inner cities throughout the country are hot mess. These inner cities, it's terrible. The education, what's going on with the crime. But no matter what, we can still depend on that black vote. And we only have 2 black senators in our party out of 50. That doesn't make any sense. How are you touting? You talk about the pot calling the kettle black. Oh, the Republicans only have 1. Well, the Democrats have 2. And, Doc, what do you think real quick?
I will keep reiterating my statement. I know of 2 issues that have not been addressed by the Black Democratic Party that white folks allow us to be a member of. The John Lewis registration bill and the George Floyd crime bill. Both are on the top of the list when the president and the vice president were elected. Neither of them have been done. Neither one of you deserve a vote from us because our major issue as black people, you have not addressed it. John Lewis and George Floyd bills.
Okay, on that note, because you're right. You're right. It shouldn't. Why are you going to give them a vote? They haven't addressed those issues, and that's what they went into office on. But they take us for granted. Anyway, thanks, Doc, for another fantastic episode. State Senator Cory McCray, fantastic. And we're going to be out for today. Talk to you all. See you all next week. God bless. Take care.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.